Oh.
What up?
I hit end stream by accident, but thank God I didn't go. Thank God there's like a, you sure? Welcome everybody to Crossing the Streams, where we answer the universal question: what should I binge watch next? I just watched something and now I got to watch something else. Well, you've come to the right place, because we've got over 133 hours of binge watching suggestions on our YouTube channel. We're going to add some more of that right now. We got some good stuff. We got Zack Wiseman here, special guest. So it's all good. We got so much goodness, so much goodness. We're going to let Zack kick off the theme song.
I love this. Well, here's a story of some lonely fellows who spend way too much time watching the TV. All of them have jobs and friends, except for Sal, just between you and me.
Mercy.
They made a live show out of their hobby. Every TV watcher's TV watching dream. Jeff, Ron, Sal, and Bob, and there's Mercy. They call it Crossing Stream.
Run.
And then one day they went live on all the platforms. You can hear the people laugh and shout and scream. Still can't find another word that rhymes with platform. But man, we cross the streams. Here we go.
Everybody, we cross the
streams.
stream. We cross the
We cross the
stream.
stream.
That's a word.
We cross the
streams. Da, da, da.
Dun, dun, dun. What's up, Lee? I know.
Hi, Lee.
I know, Lee. Bob's
Hello, Lee.
missing.
That
Bob
was-
is traveling and he could not make it. Zack, what are you up to these days besides running on the night patrol?
I'm working so much. I'm a chef at a restaurant on the beach in Myrtle Beach, and I work 7 days a week. I am exhausted. I literally got home 3 minutes before I logged into this. So I'm just working and watching way too much TV. And I don't
Zack,
have any friends. So
how many compliments a week do you get on your beard?
not as many anymore now that I'm in the kitchen. It used to be a good amount. It's doing okay.
It's like the perfect beard. You're like a Viking, dude. It's awesome.
I have a question. So, Zack, can you cut onions like this?
Not on my hand, but yeah.
Yeah, that was simulated. That was it.
Yeah.
Don't try that at home unless you're.
Simulated wise, it's exactly how I cut onions.
But would you probably bend your fingers there so you don't chop them off?
Yeah, you get that.
Yeah. So, what is your specialty?
I'm a salad guy, so I make a lot of very pretty salads, a lot of very great dressings. So yeah, I am dedicated. I'm dedicated to watching television, talking about it, and working. That's what I'm dedicated to. Not my wife, just so you know. But other than that, I'm dedicated.
Is your wife like watching TV with you?
Not really. No, I watch TV in a very weird way. I like to watch it once and not really talk about it. And then I watch it again and I talk way too much about it. And then I do a lot of research and have a lot of notebooks open. And no, she just likes to watch Bad Girls Club over and over again.
All right.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Wait, hold on. Answer the universal question. If I'm at the restaurant and I ask the wait staff to chop the salad for me, is that annoying?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Right?
Yeah, very much so. Honestly, if you ask for anything that's not on the menu, it's annoying. I mean, these people, like, that's their job, is to create dishes that you should like. So, but yeah, asking them to do something weird, usually it's not so much like annoying, like I don't want to do it. It's just like, I'm so busy that's just one more step that I'm not prepared for. So
Sure.
I don't mind doing it though. I just got to make it pretty.
What's the one ingredient in salad dressing that everyone should use at home that would just light up their salads?
Mayonnaise.
Interesting.
Never gonna happen.
I thought
Mayonnaise.
you were going to say honey.
No. Dijon mustard is number one. That goes in everything because you need a solid binder. But mayonnaise makes dressings phenomenal, just so you know.
Interesting.
Dijon mustard is my favorite salad dressing alone.
Yeah, Dijon mustard, a little bit of mayo, and some honey, and you are set. You are great.
Interesting.
Perfect.
Yeah. Love the
I have to
mustard.
say,
Love the mayo.
everything you said works on salmon as well too.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Mayonnaise is amazing on a hamburger.
Whoa. Hot
Yeah.
take.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
No,
I
it is.
actually-
I never did. I didn't grow up that way. And then
Oh.
at school, we were at a diner, and they handed us a hamburger, and it had mayo on it. Abe's Coney Island, and I ate that, and it was like, wow, this is the greatest thing ever. Now, keep in mind though, I grew up, and this is odd because my wife grew up the same way. I grew up thinking grilled cheese was basically toast with cheese. You know, they just bread with cheese and put it in the toaster and said,
Mhm.
"Here's
Yep.
your grilled cheese." Not the amazing stuff that many of you grew up on with the pan and the butter and the thing.
Here's another
Keep it
hot take.
grilled.
If you want great restaurant grilled cheese, don't
Mayonnaise.
use butter on the outside of your bread. Use mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise.
mayonnaise. That's
So
true.
basically, just use mayonnaise on everything.
I literally, my beard,
much.
mayonnaise, my face, mayonnaise,
Yeah.
hamburgers,
Yeah,
mayonnaise.
I noticed your skin has a sheen to it. Why?
All right,
what-
Honestly,
we got
it's just
trouble.
mayo.
Marcy's mom is causing trouble. She wants her salad chopped.
But I
I
will
like-
chop it for you.
I like my salad the way I like my salad.
And that's fair. I
And
love
she
that.
loves mayo on a hamburger.
I put mayonnaise on my hamburger, and I put the hamburger on a salad.
Marcy's family is. I like
They're
They're
salad.
regulars.
And it goes without saying, you're talking regular mayonnaise, not
It-
any of the
If
light
it ain't,
stuff.
if it
not-
ain't Duke's mayonnaise,
There
you're
you
doing
go.
it wrong.
There you go, Dukes. Thank you.
Duke's mayonnaise is the real stuff.
What is Duke's mayonnaise? I never even heard of it.
Oh,
Ooh.
dude, Dukes is awesome. It's
Can I get that at Kroger?
no, you might be able to get it at Kroger, but you can get it
Yeah.
here at Plum Market and some of the other
Yeah, they
places.
sell it like Walmart and stuff, so you should
Do they?
definitely get it at a Kroger.
I would buy it at Walmart over Plum Market.
Yeah.
I'd buy
Probably a
anything.
$4 difference.
Yeah, you
I-
save yourself
Yeah, I know.
double the price.
Anything in a jar, it doesn't matter where you buy it, if you can get it.
Yeah, true.
It's,
Yeah, my restaurant gets it. We get it in like 5-gallon tubs too, so it's just so much mayonnaise, and I'm
Zach,
in
Zach
love with
puts it in his pockets and takes it
Oh
home.
my god!
He gets
front
home, his
pocket-
wife's like, "Show me the mayo," and then she's just like,
And you know what? I do show it. I show it quickly. Like, here,
"Are we still talking about mayonnaise?"
here's all the mayo.
All right, fun stuff. Oh, we have. Speaking of fun stuff, Henry Kissinger died just as we were going live.
Yeah, it's a
That is
bummer.
fun.
There's somebody needs to look into it. Old age is getting everyone.
Oh
I
my God.
I like when,
Great
I like when
joke.
they're. I like when they're.
No one's getting out of here alive,
No
Jeff.
one's
not
getting
beating
out of
them.
here alive. It's like, everyone's like, "Did he have the vaccine?" No, he was 100. He was 100. Did you see the not to? I guess this isn't political, but Rosalind Carter died, and so her grandson was doing the speech, the clip that went around where he thanked all the first ladies for being there, and then he kind of just casually said, "Dr. Biden and Senator Clinton, thanks for your being joined by your lovely husbands," or something like that. It was just kind of funny. Kind of funny because they're presidents. Okay.
Yeah, that's
why
the
it was
truth.
kind of funny.
It's
Marcy.
100 years old. Is that right?
Kissinger was 100. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
You know the
meanwhile,
wor-
Abe
Okay.
Vigoda is going to outlast us all.
Abe Vigoda's been gone for years.
That was always the joke, though.
I know.
Yeah.
Isn't Abe Vigoda gone? All right.
He's gone. He's gone.
All right. Well, last week, speaking of gone, last week we talked about Sly, Invincible, and Supermensch. All fabulous. And then this week we're going to cover Scott Pilgrim. I think that's the right one. And then The Killer. We're going back in time with Jawbreakers, is that?
Yeah.
And then Love Has Won, a new documentary, which I'm surprised Ron hasn't seen. So let's kick off with Jawbreaker. Let's go right back in time. Right back in time.
1999. Okay, I've never heard of this movie until the other night when my girlfriends were trying to find something to watch and someone made a joke about Jawbreaker and I'd never heard of it and everyone freaked out. So is this a movie that you've all seen?
Nope.
I've
Yeah.
never
Nope,
seen
Ron.
it. I've never seen it.
You
It's
never
quite
heard
a
of it.
cast.
I've never heard of it.
Look at the cast.
Okay,
Rose
so yeah.
McGowan.
But I mean, the best one in it is Judy Greer, who's been in so many television. I mean, she was in Arrested Development. She was just in The show we were so disappointed to see with Go off of Hulu.
Oh yeah, reboot.
The reboot, right?
Oh,
She's
yeah.
also
been
in
so many
Archer.
things.
She's like one of the best voices in Archer.
Okay, yeah, she's in everything. I mean, she's
Mhm.
literally been. I mean,
And she's
I
from
was
Michigan.
just watching. She's from Michigan.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna let you take over. No, I did not know she was from Michigan. Where in Michigan?
It's a great question. I'll look it up while you're talking.
Okay. So I did not know that. She's awesome. I absolutely love her. So she kind of plays the nerdy girl in this. But let me start over and just like tell you about this awesome movie that came out in 1999. That for some reason I was just too busy to know that it even came out, and it came out before Mean Girls. It's kind of like a Mean Girls. It's about the popular girls in the school, real pretty, and what they do. It's just such an enjoyable film. I loved it. These girls, these gorgeous, popular girls, go to surprise one of the girls in their cliques. There's 4 of them on her 17th birthday, and right out of the gate, at the beginning of this movie, they bust into her bedroom and they gag her, put tape over her mouth, and real fast you see one of the girls shove one of those huge Jawbreakers into her mouth and tape it. And they grab her. You don't know really that they're all great friends yet. They grab her and they put her into the trunk of the car. And what they're doing is they're driving to a restaurant to surprise her with this awesome birthday breakfast. And when they get into the parking lot and open the trunk, she's blue. She's dead. She's got a huge lump in her throat. And everyone's like, what is that? And the girl that did it is like, oh, well, I put a Jawbreaker, and they're like, you gagged her with a Jawbreaker? And my dad always had a saying when I was growing up that stupid people are dangerous. And this is a perfect example. They killed their best friend on her 17th birthday because this girl thought it would be okay to shove and we're talking one of those huge Jawbreakers into her mouth. And she, of course, chokes on it and dies. So these girls put a lot of thought into it and decide that it's probably best that they cover it up and make it look like an accident. And I think that they do a really good job at entertaining the audience with this, even though Roger Ebert back in 1999 thought this movie was shit. I thought it was great. So we'll talk about the girls. Rose McGowan, she starts like, I don't really know these girls. I know one. I know Judy Greer. She's my favorite, but she's not one of the 4. But Rose McGowan, we all know. But I looked at all the movies she's been in. I wasn't thrilled with anything that she was in. And maybe
Rose?
you guys.
She's in Scream.
She's been in some
She's
TV
in the original
shows.
Scream.
Yeah, she dies like in the in the garage door, in the dog door in the garage door.
Oh, she's got blonde hair.
Yeah.
That's why, and it doesn't.
She's
pop
also
up.
in Cursed or
Yeah, she was in one of the ones with
the Witch Show.
The Witch Show.
Okay. So when I looked her up, I mean, I just saw like a whole. Maybe I was only looking at movies. I didn't see anything that I really knew. And she had, in all of the reviews of the movie she had been in were not great. But of course, I love Scream. It's one of my favorites. So she plays Courtney, who's like the ringleader, and of course the one with the Jawbreaker. And she's the one who, thinks it's okay that all this is going on and covers everything up. She's the one who is really the leader of the group. And she's, of course, a horrible person. Also, Rebecca Gayheart, who in 1999 was one of my favorite actresses. I absolutely loved her. She was on 90210. She was Dylan's girlfriend. She came up, on 90210. I loved her. All my friends, we all thought she was beautiful. She was the Noxzema girl. And it was such a great time in her career. She's probably one of the best in this movie. And unfortunately, she ruined her career. If you remember, she was driving and didn't yield to a pedestrian walkway, and she killed a 9-year-old kid, and it ruined her career, unfortunately. So she,
I guess you can only do that if you're Matthew Broderick.
Oh my gosh.
In another country.
Right.
Correct. You're right. Some people get away with more. She was at the beginning of her career, so you're right. Unfortunately, she didn't have what he had. So she was great in it. And then Julie Benz, who I really don't know. She's one of the four. She plays Marcy, spelled with an E, and her last name is not spelled Kozen. But Carol Kane is in it. She plays like the she leads the school. I'm just gonna say she's the principal, but she's like the adult that's always at the school running the homecoming vote, or the prom queen, whatever it is. Like Carol Kane's a big part of the movie. She's awesome as well. So I will say this movie definitely is better than Mean Girls, because I didn't like that movie. It's not better than Heathers. I think Heathers was better, and Heathers came out before this movie. But it's all about the really pretty, popular girls that are up to no good and are just stupid and dangerous and going to cause problems. So Jawbreaker was a pleasant surprise for me. I really enjoyed it. Basically what happens is, of course, I didn't even get to the point of the whole Judy Greer thing. So Judy Greer plays Fern. She really looks up to the girl that was killed. She's known as the nicest of the foursome, and she looks up to her, would love to be her friend, but just is in the distance, and she's like real nerdy. And Judy Greer is a real pretty woman. So in the meantime, she finds out that these girls murdered or killed her. They're covering it up, and they're like, hey, rather than you go to the police, how about we make you pretty, and we let you join our group, and you can be popular, and you can kind of take her place, and then you won't want to go to the police and turn us in. And she's like, yeah, I'm on board with that. So that's what happened. So they changed her name to Violet from Fern, because you'd much rather be a Violet than a Fern.
Sure.
And she turns into like the worst one of all. And then Rebecca Gayheart, who plays Julie, she's the one with the conscience, and she can't, the moral that she can't live with herself anymore. And, she wants to go to the authorities and make everything right. In the meantime, I'm not going to ruin it for you, because it sounds like you guys are all going to want to watch that this weekend. But it was fun. It was a fun movie. And once again, I really can't believe that I never saw it in 1999. I never even heard of it until 3 days ago. And it was, I was entertained the whole way through, especially the fact that they open it up right away, and that Jawbreaker is just shoved in her mouth within the first 5 minutes of the movie. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie. It was worth $3.99 all day long.
So it's a comedy, right?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah.
I mean, the way Heathers is a comedy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron, I don't know. I tried to laugh at Please Don't Destroy Us movie. I did not find, and I love those guys. There's a movie they have. Anyway,
I see that Marilyn Manson is in the movie.
Marilyn Manson is in the movie. In fact, at one point, someone's like, do you guys know who that is? And I'm like, no, who is it? It looks so familiar. Like,
well, he was
Marilyn
married to
Manson.
Rose McGowan for a while.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And the show is Charmed, not Cursed. I was wrong.
Charmed,
yeah.
Charmed. And I never watched that.
Oh, I love Charmed.
That was with Shannon Doherty, wasn't it? And
is Charmed the one that's always on TNT when you wake up at 3 a.m?
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Sounds like it.
Sounds
no,
like.
I never watched Charmed.
Julie Benz, she was great in Dexter. She's also in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but she was amazing in Dexter.
2 shows I didn't watch.
Oh.
But yeah, Julie Benz was in this. She was pretty good too. It's really funny seeing Judy Greer as the real ugly girl. And you just know right out of the gate, if you know who she is, that they're going to give her a makeover. She's very pretty. And she's very funny. I mean, I loved her in Arrested Development.
Oh, she was great.
She was so great.
The last time you're going to see these.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as I was like, oh my God, I love her. So it was a fun movie. So yeah, I had to take it back old school 1999, Jeff.
That's cool. Yeah,
That's
I worked
awesome.
at Blockbuster in 96. So from 96 until 2000, I saw all those weird indie movies just because I was there and I just watched all that stuff. So Jawbreaker is one of those ones. I mean, Jawbreakers walked so Mean Girls could run. Like it was Heathers and Jawbreakers were like for the cool kids, and then like the funny SNL people picked it up and made Mean Girls. But yeah, Jawbreakers was like Slackers, where it's like just the cool kids knew about it, and that was like the cool dark humor. Parents did not get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really cool movie. Yeah, good pick.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks. I liked it.
Awesome. All right, I'm gonna go next because I don't know how long this is gonna be. I don't know. But this is Love Has Won, the
Yeah.
Cult of Mother God. Have you seen this?
No, but can I just tell you that before you go into the review, that for whatever reason, cult documentaries have taken over my house. And I'm assuming this is a cult documentary since it just said that in the cover. But I don't know are you guys seeing a bunch of cult documentaries right now?
Yeah.
That it seems all the rage right now.
Yeah, it's like the true crime stuff's kind of died off. Now people are like, but yeah, cults are interesting too. Learn that. Yeah, and Love Has Won is cool.
Yeah, sorry, Jeff, please.
No, it's good. So Love Has Won it's on HBO. It's brand new, just came out, I think probably a few weeks ago. It's only 3 episodes. And I mention that because, well, I do think it probably could have been 2 episodes. I could handle the 3 episodes. It was a little overall. My wife is really into these movies. She loves like the Nexium one and all those. And like, so I sat down and started watching it with her, and it was definitely interesting. It definitely kept my attention. I'm not into cult documentaries, but this was definitely keeping my attention. I think episode 2, sometimes it gets a little, I think you're saying the same thing over and over and over again. I don't need to hear it anymore. And so I walked out of part of episode 2, but then episode 3 kind of brought it home. That's why I was saying, like, I think it could have been like a tight, like 2-hour movie or something like that, or 2 episodes, or just 3 shorter episodes. But it's definitely worth watching. I definitely found it to be extremely interesting. When you see, we all, what side, without getting political, whatever side of the political spectrum we're on, we think the other one's in a cult. And you can, when you start to see it at a kind of a micro level, like this show kind of takes it, you can start to see like, okay, it's not crazy. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, but it's like, it happens a lot. It's not crazy. It's not an anomaly that these things happen and people get drawn into things. I had friends that were drawn into religion, very, very, I don't want to say culty, but like, like it became their lives 100%. So things can take over depending on what you have going on in your life. And if you need something to fill that thing in your life, these things come at the right time and they can just be there for you. So this one's not unlike any of the others. It's not a huge cult. I think they only said there was maybe 15 to 12, 20 people at any given time in this cult, full-time FTE cult members at any given time. It's focused around this woman named Amy Carlson. Amy Carlson refers to herself as Mother God. She apparently grew up, I would say, kind of normal, straight A student, apparently. I believe was in, there was a divorce and there was some family stuff that happened. She wasn't treated very well. A lot of trauma early on that she took the brunt of during a divorce. And later in life, she leaves her 3rd husband and her job as a manager at McDonald's and her children. And she starts this cult. She becomes Mother God. She's really into New Age. And I'm not going to give all the details. I'm just trying to give the thing. But like, she's really into, and she starts this cult that she's like, I don't know, how do you describe it? Like just the mother of Earth, I guess. She's God. And then when Robin Williams committed suicide, he came to her and he's constantly giving her information. And there's the galactics and you're going to ascend. And, like there's some of the same things you hear in other cults. But, then she would have someone who would be like the father. I can't remember all these different names. But the interesting thing about this documentary is it opens with her dead. Okay. Like that's not a spoiler. This is first 5 minutes. So it's like she's dead, she's mummified, and then really the whole documentary is working back up to that moment, so you can see what
So
happened.
they Tarantino'd it.
They Tarantino did,
Right.
but I mean, she's mummified, and and she was like this for months.
Mhm.
This cult acted like this body was alive and gonna reascend or whatever. She was, I don't know, I don't even know, but like it was it was really interesting. It's when you watch these things and they talk to the families and they completely disconnect from the families, and these folks went on Dr. Phil at one point to try and get her out of this, and it's like it's I don't know. To me, it's like it becomes just a lot of this whole cult thing and like interviews with all the people. And I guess from other cult documentaries, the people they talked to were the first degree people. I mean, they were very close to this Amy Carlson person. You watch her kind of deteriorate throughout the whole thing. It's a really kind of sad. It's sad. It's like one, because in my opinion, it wasn't the most organized cult in the world. So I mean, if you're gonna pick a cult, it's like I've seen other cults. Like I've been like, the tennis shoe one where they all, kill you. Like it would seem just much more organized and methodical. In the cult world, probably made a little more sense. This one was just seemed a little out there, even for the people that were buying into it, which is probably why they only got about 12 to 20 people to kind of do it. But they raised tons of money off of like YouTube and stuff. I mean, like hundreds of thousands of dollars they raised. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
So do they get famous people in it at all? Any well-known people that kind of act as like the
closest famous? No, these are the real people. There's no reenactments or anything. But the most famous person who was in it, which was only in it by mention, was Robin Williams.
I see. Got it. By
who was
from the grave.
Who was guiding her? Yeah, who was
Yeah,
guiding
got
her
it.
and stuff. Yeah.
Got it.
I have kind of a weird relationship with this cult because I moved to Colorado in 2019, and then it was like a year later that they told me that this woman had died, and they like would not let the people take her, and they had like wrapped her up in a sleeping bag and like Christmas lights, and they like the cult was like 3 hours south of where I was living. And people are like, yeah, this cult's kind of like, it's kind of interesting. And there's this mother god lady. And so some people that I knew in Colorado, it's a weird thing where people will be like houseless, but on purpose. Like they have a lot of money. They just don't have a house, and they just go and kind of live like in the mountains or live anywhere, but then they still shop at Trader Joe's. So it's very weird. So a lot of these guys will go to Colorado with a bunch of money and then find these weird communes or these weird cults and kind of live with them just for like free food and stuff. So I think she passed in like 2021. And so like that was kind of like this weird conversation that some people were having in Colorado. So I heard of it the opposite way. I heard of it from this cult who the lady died and they wouldn't take her body. And I'm like, well, what is this about? And then, find out it's like, love is one. It's like, oh, okay, this is interesting. But the documentary was good. I agree that it was definitely a little bit too long. It got very like, yeah, I know that. But I liked it. And I liked it because I knew weird stuff about it before the documentary came out. So, but yeah, I thought it was interesting.
It's been focused on Dateline, and yeah, I mean, when we say it's short and it's still a little too long, but it's totally doable, and it is very interesting. I mean, there is something fascinating about just the people they were able to talk to. I mean, and just the story that they were able to tell. You didn't feel like it was 4 degrees away of people telling things that they heard someone else tell. It was very 1 degree away from this Amy person who had done it. At one point I found it was like heartbreaking, like, her kids, I mean, it's like she just left them. She was 5. Her daughter was 5. I mean, this one day she just left, like, and they never saw her again. And, so it's just really fascinating, the lives, and every one of these people they talked to, had left the call, left their families completely.
Well, so we watched over the Thanksgiving holiday. We watched two different cult shows. First, we watched Twin Flame,
Oh yeah.
the Twin Flame one, which has a Michigan connection, which is super interesting. I don't know if you guys have seen
What's
that.
that one on?
I think it's on Netflix, I believe.
Mhm.
Okay.
And that's up in Sutton's Bay, up in northern Michigan. Exists a cult that's still alive right now. It wasn't broken up; it's still there and thriving, and was started in Farmington Hills, Jeff. So
Ooh.
go figure.
That's where I grew up.
All right, so I think you'll enjoy Twin Flame. All that one's kind of wacky. The
Yeah.
one that really kind of scares me, to be very honest with you, still is The Vow on Max, which is about the NXIVM cult.
Oh yeah.
And the reason this one scares me is because this one is as wacky as the cult you're describing, Jeff, and the Twin Flame cult is. It's so patently unbelievable and attracts absolutely crazy people. NXIVM attracted super smart, intelligent people, and
Mhm.
and the leader of that cult and the leadership underneath that person were very smart and very articulate and incredibly precise in how they worked their business model and basically turned it into basically slowly evolved people away from their own personas and to live for this organization.
They got Allison Mack.
They got
Yeah,
Allison Mack.
That's
Yeah.
to me, that's the worst cult that I have learned about recently. And it was so devious what they would do. Like
Yeah.
to guise themselves as like a women forward, empowering women thing and have women like get these other women to get in there just to be this a-holes like sex
Yeah.
slave. Like that is
Yeah.
one of the grossest things that privilege can bring to people. And
100%.
that was
Well,
really
but they were also marketing geniuses. They got the reason I asked about the famous people in your show, Jeff, is because NXIVM, I think, cornered the market on finding and converting famous people into this cult. They got the Dalai Lama to speak for them. They got just like incredibly powerful people to say, yeah, these guys are what they're doing is really, really smart. Before the whole story broke about the sex cult and the branding and all the branding. By the way, if you haven't seen it, branding, I'm talking about physical branding, like a cow with a hot iron.
Ooh.
That kind of branding.
yeah.
Yellowstone does it all the time.
Right. So it is amazing. First off, how they attract and maintain these folks in the cult, but I find it super interesting purely from a psychology standpoint how different cults can appeal to different populations of people. Basically, they target different populations of people. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
Sad.
All right. That's enough culty stuff for today.
Awesome.
Let's see what else we got. Let's talk about the new Scott Pilgrim.
Oh, sick. Before I talk about Scott Pilgrim, I'm trying to find a documentary. If anybody can help me, and there's not a name to it, but I know of this event that happened, and I want to watch and learn more about it. I don't know if you guys know this, but in 1996, once again, not about Scott Pilgrim, just side tangent because you guys talk about documentaries. In 1996, Martin Scorsese made a movie that I guarantee you guys have not seen or probably even heard of. It was promoted by Disney. It's called Kundun. And it's about the 14th Dalai Lama. And apparently China got so angry about it that they made Disney completely disown this movie. And they only put it in 2 theaters on Christmas Day for like 2 weeks. It made $0. And apparently it's like one of the biggest things that started China's like encroachment over Hollywood and what they're allowed to say. I kind of found out about it, so I'm putting together my own documentary. But for movie buffs, if you guys know about Kundun, please let me know where to find more information because I am so interested in this. Okay, Scott Pilgrim.
I was going to say the only thing I really know about it is that it's a 1997 movie written by Melissa Matheson.
So here's why I know about this. My daughter just got into Sopranos and she loves it, right? And we're watching the one episode where they go to the Oscars and Martin Scorsese's there. And Chris Moltisanti says, Marty, Kundun, I liked it. And I was like, what is that? And I literally like Googled Kundun. I'm like, what? There's a Martin Scorsese movie that I've never even heard of. And yeah, apparently China just squashed this thing because you cannot talk about Tibet. Taiwan or Tiananmen Square and have it go into the Chinese market. And Martin Scorsese is very upset. He's very sad about this. Anyway, okay, Scott Pilgrim. So 2004, right? Let's go back to 2004. There's this weird Canadian anime fan. His name's Brian Lee O'Malley, and he creates this new weird Canadian anime, and it's called Scott Pilgrim. All right, and it ends up being 6 books. The first one, I believe, is called Scott Pilgrim and His Precious Life. The second one is Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and etc. And the coolest thing about this concept is very similar to anime, where it's about your hero who's kind of struggling, finds his purpose in life, and then has to fight a bunch of people. That's how most animes work. Well, Scott Pilgrim, he actually, he and the weird thing is he's not a good guy, right? You're not really supposed to like Scott. He's dating a high schooler, even though he's 22. He's kind of a scumbag, doesn't have a job, and he's just in like a local band. It's actually a very good band, but he's kind of a scumbag. Now he starts having these dreams, and in his dreams, there's this girl named Ramona Flowers, and he sees this girl in his dreams all the time, and he cannot understand why out of nowhere this girl's in his dreams. So he sees her at a party, and he's like, "Wait, you're the girl of my dreams." And it turns out she's got a special power that because she's a delivery person, she can warp through people's dreams to save time and space. So if she goes through Scott's brain because he has a crazy imagination, she can go about 5 miles in 10 seconds through his brain. So that's why he keeps seeing her, which is really interesting anyway. So he falls for this girl. Now the books, they kind of go over where Ramona has 7 evil ex-boyfriends, and he has to fight all these ex-boyfriends in a row, and each one is stronger and stronger and stronger. And they've actually formed this unit of like Ramona's evil ex-boyfriend. So they actually communicate with each other. Whenever a guy is interested, they go and just beat the crap out of this guy. So the books go on, and it's about Scott and his life, and he meets Ramona, whatever. And then in 2010, Edgar Wright, who's a great director, and if you don't know about his movies, he does all the cool Simon Pegg, Nick Frost movies. He's got his Cornetto trilogy, like Hot Fuzz, etc. So, and he actually was the first one to write Ant-Man. So Edgar Wright finds this comic, and he loves it. And he makes a movie that comes out in 2010 called Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And it stars Michael Cera, Brie Larson, Jason Schwartzman. It's got one of the best casts of all time, right? I forget who even else is in it, but it's a great cast. And it was a pretty well, accepted movie. And it follows the first 2 books pretty well. Well, then for some reason, a couple weeks ago, brand new, Netflix drops this 8 episode brand new thing. It's called Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. And whenever I see a remake, I'm kind of iffy about it because I don't like watching the same thing over and over again with just the current jokes and the current, memes in there. But I realized that Edgar Wright and Brian Lee O'Malley are the forefront of this. They're actually creating this thing, and they go to the studio that makes Adventure Time, and they want to kind of create this new anime using the same people. But they don't want the fans to be disappointed. So what they do is they actually write in the story that the movie was just a movie if what would have happened if Scott had won any of these fights. So in episode 1, it kind of follows the same thing. Scott meets Ramona. You learn about her time warp through her brain. Then you meet one of the boyfriends. But instead of the big difference is that Scott loses the first fight. So he takes off. So he's actually not in the majority of these episodes. Then you kind of learn about all the other characters and what they would have done if Scott wasn't around. Then he comes back later on. But the most interesting thing is that every single person from the movie came back to be in this. Michael Cera's in it. Aubrey Plaza's in it. Elizabeth Winstead is in it. Aubrey Plaza, Jason Schwartzman, everybody who was in the original one came back. Edgar Wright is writing it. Brian Lee O'Malley's directing it again. And they really take a core concept of what's just a weird anime, and they kind of evolve it into, okay, well, now it's Edgar Wright's sense of humor. Now it's this Canadian weird thing going on. But what would have happened if you wanted to see something different? And that's what I like the most about like the newest trend of what movies and television are doing, where it's this, it's more meta postmodern stuff, right? Where now we can talk about the things that we already know, and that's part of the concept. So it's interesting, you go into something that about, you already have these preconceived notions of what's going to happen. And then when something veers so far, you're like, wait a minute. I know this stuff and this isn't what I know. And for me, being a fan of all film and all cinema, I love it when I cannot understand or expect what's happening next. And I think that's why Scott Pilgrim Takes Off was so cool, because the original people that you like are involved. Everybody that's still in it still cares about it and it's still going on, but it's slightly better than what you remember because people actually care about this concept and not trying to just put out more content. And that's what I sincerely love about this. So if you like Scott Pilgrim, if you like the comics, if you like the movie, this new show on Netflix it'll catch you off guard because it follows a person you're not supposed to like. He is a bad guy. He dates a high schooler. He takes advantage of people. He is a scumbag. He steals money and stuff. And it lets you live in that world of like, well, what if we had to follow this man who's not really a good dude, while he tries to fall in love. So I absolutely love it. It caught me off guard. And for a fan of anime, it really works because there still are the fight scenes. There still is that, super level to how things go, because for some reason, Scott's just the best fighter in the world. They never really talk about it. It just is like a side note. And yeah, it's really interesting. Chris Evans is in it. Brandon Routh, and some of the characters in here, like Chris Evans is a Hollywood stuntman. And one of his powers in the movie is that he has infinite, stunt doubles, so he can always fight you over and over again because there's infinite of him. One of the guys is a vegan who has like vegan teleport powers because vegans are so special and so important. One's a ninja, one are twins. Really solid stuff if you're into weird quirky humor, and some pretty solid fight scenes. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, I would say, is definitely worth your time. It is really fun, and also Michael Cera's in it, and that's always funny.
Yeah, I love him. Can I watch it without knowing anything about Scott Pilgrim?
100%.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, 100%. It is.
I think you just learned everything you need to know about Scott Pilgrim.
That's right.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, first episode really catches you up onto what you should know about Scott Pilgrim, and then after that, it is so different than what you could have known that there's no way for you to understand or to have expected it. So yeah, if you're new to Scott Pilgrim, it's a really cool entryway, and then you can go back and watch the movie and be like, oh, these are the same voices, these are the same people, which just makes it so much better. It's not a reboot, it's not a remake. It is literally an extension of where these characters should be and where they should have gone. And not many people are making actual further content instead of just retreading the same stuff. So I think when it comes to that, it is stunning. Really hits the mark. I was a big fan.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Good. I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, please do. Really, really good.
All right.
Awesome.
We ready for the last show? We're talking The Killer. The --lure.
It took me so long on Netflix to understand what I was looking at. And I realized it's just the eye got shot and fell down. It's not a --dot. It is the eye.
Yeah, put that screen back. Put that screen back up, Jeff.
I'm like, what is --dot? What is that? And I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
It's literally just the eye.
Yeah, the eye was murdered.
The eye was murdered.
Literally.
So can I assume, Zach, that you've seen this?
I have seen it, and I stared at the screen for 15 minutes trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Have either of you guys seen it?
No, is it a movie or is it a show? Or?
It's a movie. And what's funny is when I first turned it on, I was expecting it to be a limited series. Like I thought, I didn't think it through. I didn't know anything about it, and I just turned it on, wondering how many episodes it was going to be. I'll watch the first episode, see what I think. I didn't realize at the time it was a movie, but then I'm like, hey, wait a second, this is a movie. This is not there's nothing. Let me just back up and say this. Right off the bat, Michael Fassbender is probably my very favorite actor in Hollywood right now. The guy can do everything. He's been in so many movies that are right up there among my very, very favorite movies out there. I feel like he has endless talent and can pull off literally every character that he attempts. And the thing I also love about Michael Fassbender is that his range, like if you think about the different characters he's played in the different movies, he's been every kind of angle, every kind of character you can think of, and this is no different. He plays a cold-blooded maniac in this movie, and I'll explain that in a second. But more importantly to this is David Fincher, who directed this movie. And for those of you who don't know, David Fincher the dude has only directed among my very, very favorite movies ever, including Fight Club and Seven and The Game with Michael Douglas and a bunch of other movies. He hasn't done as much recently. He's had a couple failures in the last few years, but when I heard that Fincher and Fassbender had combined to do this movie, The Killer, I was thrilled to see what it was about, and I just have to say, I love. This may say more about me than the movie, but I love stories about hitmen. I just do. Every movie out there that has a calculating bastard hitman that is really professional about their job, I find those stories really fascinating. And let me give you a taste of this for this movie, you guys. And I'm not exaggerating when I tell you it's David Fincher opens this movie with Michael Fassbender for 20 minutes. 20 minutes. The beginning of the movie is nothing but the inside of his brain talking to himself as he sets up a rifle waiting for the apartment across the street for the light to turn on for his target to appear. And you learn about what is necessary to be as cold-blooded and calculating over the first 20 minutes of this movie, basically to be the kind of professional that Michael Fassbender is in The Killer, for him to be as successful as he is. And he tells himself things along this first 20 minutes, and it creates a thread throughout the movie. Things like, stay patient, wait for your opportunity, show no empathy, strike when the moment comes. Things that become the mantra of the movie is introduced in that first 20 minutes, and you realize, crap, I'm watching a cold-blooded maniac right now, right? But he pulls it off, right? And so, what happens when somebody who is so calculated and so perfect in what he does and so well conceived for the job at hand? What happens when that person misses? What happens when they make literally the first mistake of their entire lives, of their entire career, and all of the things that made them who they are now broken, and they have to operate now by a new system of doing things doing things that hadn't been prepared for, and managing chance, and doing things that they hadn't planned on doing, and it creates this tension of, okay, they just spent the whole first part of this movie explaining how rigid and perfect this guy is, and now he's got to basically create a new type of rigid and new type of control in order to solve this problem. And the fact is, as you go through the movie, and this isn't wrecking anything, you realize it can never be solved. He is now a forever broken tool for whoever it is that hires him for these jobs. He can never be the perfect thing that he was prior. And you learn further in the movie, he's got a love interest, and he's trying to take care of folks, and he's trying to manage things that are not exactly convenient for someone who's in this particular profession. And he's got to basically clean this mess up. And I don't know about you guys, if you guys watched like Pulp Fiction, the character of the cleaner, like that, the wolf, exactly. And there was another movie with him where he was a cleaner also.
Was that Harvey Keitel?
It was, that was Harvey Keitel, and then the other one was about what was her name? The woman assassin who was in prison the first part of her career, and she gets recruited to be the assassin with Bridget Fonda. I'm forgetting the name of it.
Oh, I remember that was. I love that
God,
movie.
I love that movie.
That was a remake.
It wasn't.
It
was a remake.
Yeah, but there's a
Femme Nikita.
Point of no return.
The Femme Nikita.
Point of no return.
That was the French version, and then Point of No Return. So this is the theme. I love these themes of systems breaking and then someone coming in to have to clean the situation, and that's kind of this story. But the person you're, Michael Fassbender as the instrument that breaks, he's not a normal person. It almost feels like he's got some type of spectrum disorder, because he's so crisp in his stylings of how he manages his life, and so that's how the story goes on. It's basically the system attempting to clean him versus his own tasks of fixing his own situation in now a broken world that he's created for himself. And it is interesting. I will tell you, I had to watch the movie twice.
Mhm.
I didn't. The ending is so quick and
Yep.
and uninspiring and leaves you so unsatisfied. But I realized afterwards that the precision of Michael Fassbender and his what he is makes for a perfect ending. That it would be a crisp, precise, and quick ending like that. And so I feel like I can't speak for Fincher, but David Fincher, but I think that's what he was going for. I think he was saying that, that we don't go for long, empathetic endings like this. That's not who this person is, and that's not how the story is going to end. It's. Let me just say this: if you liked how you felt in the movie Seven, because let's be clear, Seven is a strange movie, right? If you liked how you felt in Fight Club, and Fight Club is a strange movie, you're gonna love your way through The Killer, because it feels similar.
I had a stomach ache when I was watching. No, I'm just kidding.
It feels similar. Let me pause there because I'm really.
You thought the greatest moment in cinema history is when they opened that box.
I have to tell you that,
And it was
that's a powerful moment.
A bunch of goop in there. A bunch of goop in there.
Jack, I'm really interested in your opinion on this as the other guy who's seen this.
I would have taken that box right to Whole Foods and returned it.
Yeah, I remember I woke up one morning and turned on Netflix, and it was like the number one thing on there. And I remember looking at that dot or the dash dot. I'm like, what is this? And I literally played it, didn't even read about it. And it took me like immediately, I'm like, oh, okay, this has a cool feel to it. And there's not many things that I thoroughly enjoy more than someone who has a very strict set of rules, but then has to break these rules. That's like, that does it for me. That's one of my jams in movies. The cool thing about this movie, and I'm so glad you picked this because I kind of almost forgot about this movie already. But Fassbender, who's been in 300 and who's been in X-Men, who's this huge explosive actor, to the amount of restraint that this man has while doing the most tedious things, watching him wait and then something happen and him having to wait 24 more hours and then wait and then something happened in the very beginning, like what you were saying, like he's waiting for this mark and as he's about to take a shot, somebody comes to the front door and he's like, this isn't supposed to happen. And you can see him like break and then quickly have to realign himself to figure out what he has to do to get back on task. And it is so meticulous how he works. And even the weird scene at the end with Tilda Swinton, I'm like, what is going to happen here? And you're right. The ending is very quick. It comes very fast.
Yeah, it's like a punch in the face.
Yeah, but I think that it worked for what he was doing for this style of character.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see like a storytelling technique being used for the film, but actually gives you more insight into what the character is up to.
Yeah.
Because that was it. Like he finished his stuff. He checked off his, he did those things he was trying to do. It was a really interesting, it took me maybe like 20 minutes to realize if I liked it or not.
Yeah.
But you're right about the feel of being a David Finch film. It's got that very bleak kind of like color palette. Like there's not a lot of flair to it. But yeah, Fassbender, it is a character piece on Fassbender 100%. And he is meticulously perfect in that movie.
Yeah, he was exceptionally well cast, and I wouldn't. It's funny because if you had said Michael Fassbender for this, he wouldn't have been my first choice.
No, I was actually thrown off that he was in it until watching him do that yoga. I'm like, oh, he's tight.
Yeah. He's in exceptional shape. And by the way, I don't know what the dude personally. I don't know what he's doing, but he is skinny like a rail in this movie,
and so strong, strong,
and super strong. You can tell he's been seriously working out and doing yoga or Pilates or whatever the hell he's doing. I would love to know more about this character, like what had led him to this lifestyle. What was, I'd love to hear backstory and talk about his childhood and all this stuff. We're never going to get that. At least I don't think we are. But would have loved more. I could have seen this as a limited series.
Yeah, it does have a really cool Fight Club vibe where like he tells you why he wears the clothes that he chooses. He tells you why he eats what he eats. He tells you why he takes the amount of steps that he takes and what he
That's
does
right.
and why he does it. And it's so meticulous and so interesting.
Yeah.
It was a cool movie.
Yeah. So
And the mistake he makes, I was like, that's crazy.
The mistake is insane.
Yeah.
I don't know. So listen, I recommend it 100%, but I don't recommend it maybe for the reasons that you might think. It's not a feel good movie. You're not going to come away feeling great about this movie. But I think you will come away having been pleased that you went on the journey with him.
Yeah.
And I think you will find yourself, this is my measure for a great film. If you're thinking about it a couple days later, if you're thinking through, well, why did he behave like that? Why did he think this? Why did he, how come this part didn't work for him? Like if you're thinking things like that a couple days later, the movie hit. It means that it scored with you.
I think that's how Marcy felt about Jawbreaker.
I think that is. I think Jawbreaker.
Still hanging in there.
I mean, listen, Marcy, it's no Jawbreaker, but it's right up there. I think you'll.
Did you like Barry? Were you a fan of Barry?
I'm not. So I have not seen Barry. I know it's a gaping hole in my repertoire.
Perfect.
I need to work on it.
But it's a Hitman show. You have to watch. It's amazing.
Did you just say it's a Titman show?
Hitman.
Got it. Because you had my attention for a moment. Now
it is a perfect show. If there can be a perfect show, this is a perfect television show.
Got it. Okay. I've heard great things.
I thought you were going to say, "Oh, it's my favorite."
No,
the whole time I'm like, he must love Barry.
Oh, you would love Barry.
I did love Dexter, and I don't know if that's really Hitman, but
no,
sort of. But Dexter. So I'm glad I mentioned Dexter because Dexter.
I think serial killer is different than Hitman. We should discuss that.
Yeah,
that's true. Well, I think all hitmen are serial killers, but not all serial killers are hitmen. Perhaps, but Dexter somehow made it okay. Given the situation, this is just pure calculated and cold blooded. It doesn't feel okay, and it never does through the movie. So, anyway.
And everything's so transactional too. It's like there's not a lot of feeling in anybody in this movie. No. Nobody likes anything. Like they're not trying to do anything. It's just like, well, we got this in the book. We got to do. Here's the rules. Here's what we got to do.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned, by the way, Zach, Tilda Swinton, because I don't know, I didn't know much about her. I've seen her in a few different things, but she's a gifted actor.
Stunning.
She really, her part in this movie is a small part, but this one scene that she's in is absolutely intense and incredibly well handled. So good for good for the casting.
Yeah, very cool scenes in movies are when someone thinks they're going to die and then how they handle themselves for those next couple minutes. And Tilda, that was a very interesting, cool scene. Yep. And I thought the movie was cool. It was quicker than I wanted it to be. You're right. I wanted to spend more time with him because I wanted to understand like, why are these your rules? How'd you learn these rules? And but either way, very cool.
All right. That was awesome. Great show, everyone.
Nice job, guys.
So great.
We're everywhere from Jawbreakers to killers to cults to anime. This episode had it all. Zach, give us another salad dressing tip and tell us where we can keep up with you.
Remember, when it comes to fat versus your acids, you want to do 2 to 1. You need 2 to 1 fats to acid to make a great salad dressing. Go listen to all of Jeff Dwoskin's amazing conversations with all of his stunning people. The guy knows how to actually just have a conversation with somebody and not poke and prod, and don't do a thing where they ask questions but don't pay attention to the answer because they want to ask our question. That's not what Jeff Dwoskin does. That dude has a great conversation with you, and he really wants to get to know you. So please go check out all of his conversations. If you do anything else tonight or tomorrow, or actually just do it. It doesn't matter when. Just do it.
Nice.
Thank you, Zach. That touches my heart. Ron, now you say something nice about me.
Listen, what can I say? But that would top that. I think Zach's right on, the ultimate conversation maker and incredible interviewer. So nice job, Jeff. Great being here. Sorry I've been gone for a month. Glad to be here again, and looking forward to next show.
All right, Marcy.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't been here in a long time, so it's good to see everyone. And don't forget to see Jawbreakers. And always remember that dressing belongs on the side. Dressing on the side. I know he doesn't like
No. I'll tell you, that makes me more upset than having to chop a salad. If I see sauce on the
Hashtag
side.
dressing on the side.
Well, you know what it is, Zach? It's not that. It's because sometimes they put, like, Caesar salad is notorious
Too
for
much.
this. They're like, oh, you know what we need to do while we're making this Caesar salad? Coat every square inch
Too
of
much.
the lettuce. And
Hey.
so it's like, it's just, they put too much on. You can, it's like salt. You can add more salt. You can't take it away, right?
Don't drown
Same
your
thing-
food. Remember
Same
that?
thing with
Don't
like
drown
salad
your
dressing. If
food.
they just put a little bit in, that would be great. But like
gotta
when they
coat it.
bring it to me on the side and they bring 4 gallons of it, and I'm like, were you going to put 4 gallons into my?
I mean, that's what a Caesar salad asks for. 4 gallons of Caesar dressing.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's-
Sorry.
Well,
You don't
anyway.
like Caesars then.
No, I love Caesar. I just don't need that much dressing.
Yeah.
I touched a nerve.
I guess what I'm saying is, I think you're a good chef. You don't need to cover it up.
No, I don't care what anyone does. As long as they enjoy their food, I'm fine with all of that.
Exactly.
Yep, I don't care.
All right.
Good
Well,
job.
thanks everyone. We'll be back next week and every week with more streaming suggestions. Bye. And that has been another episode of Crossing the Streams. Join us every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, live on Facebook and YouTube. Follow the Jeff DeWaskin Show on YouTube to be alerted every time we go live with your hosts, Jeff DeWaskin, Ron Lippett, Howard Rosner, Bob Phillips, Sal D'Amelio. We're all in the socials. Follow us, listen to our podcasts, Classic Conversations, and the Sal and Bob Show. Check them all out, and we'll see you next week and every week when we cross more streams right here. See you then.